How did strange, unsigned self-portraits from the late 1700s become some of the internet's favorite memes today? These theatrical expressions, laughing, yawning, dramatically pointing, look like something AI might generate after being told, paint a nobleman acting weird. Yet they're the work of Joseph Ducreux, one of France's most respected portraitists, an artist who painted Marie Antoinette herself. So why would a court painter at the height of prestige risk ridicule by contorting his face into poses better suited to street performers than salon walls? In the strictly ordered world of 18th century art, portraiture followed rigid rules. Every brushstroke communicated status, wealth, and dignity. The aristocracy expected to be immortalized looking regal and composed, never laughing, yawning, or pointing with mocking expressions. Joseph Ducreux began his career playing by these rules perfectly. Born in Nancy, France in 1735, he trained under the famed portrait artist Maurice Quentin de la Tour, nicknamed the Prince of Pastelists. In 1769, Ducreux received a commission that would change his life. He was sent to Vienna to paint a miniature portrait of the young Marie Antoinette before her marriage to the future King Louis XVI of France. The stakes couldn't have been higher. This portrait would show the French king what his future bride looked like. Ducreux's portrait so impressed Marie Antoinette that she later made him her official court painter and granted him the title of Baron. Extraordinary recognition for someone who wasn't even a member of the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. Then around 1780, something remarkable happened. This established court painter, this master of convention and formality, began creating some of the most unconventional self-portraits ever conceived, works that would challenge everything about what portraiture was supposed to be, and strangely, he never signed them. Imagine the shock in aristocratic circles when Ducreux began exhibiting these bizarre self-portraits. Here was the Queen's official painter depicted mid-yawn, with his mouth gaping open or with a finger to his lips calling for silence, or pointing mockingly at the viewer. These weren't just artistic eccentricities. Ducreux was exploring a scientific movement captivating Enlightenment thinkers, physiognomy, the belief that a person's character could be determined through their facial features and expressions. English physician Sir Thomas Browne wrote that there are certain features in our faces that carry the motto of our souls. Many believed facial expressions could reveal a person's true nature, something impossible to capture in the rigid, emotionless poses of traditional portraiture. Picture Ducreux in his studio, staring into a mirror, contorting his face into an exaggerated expression, holding it long enough to memorize the details, then turning to his canvas to capture what he observed. Without photography to freeze these fleeting expressions, he had only himself, his mirror, and his remarkable memory. He would repeat this process over and over again, practicing each expression dozens of times until he could reproduce it perfectly on canvas. Despite these paintings' seemingly humorous nature, they represent serious artistic innovation, a blending of scientific curiosity with technical mastery. And yet, he never signed these experimental works, perhaps knowing how they defied the artistic conventions that had made his reputation. Some art historians suggest that Marie Antoinette herself enjoyed Ducreux's eccentric character and encouraged these experimental works, providing him protection within court circles despite their unconventional nature. Remarkably, Ducreux wasn't the only artist exploring extreme facial expressions during this period. In Austria, the sculptor Franz Xaver Messerschmidt was creating his famous character heads, a series of busts depicting faces contorted in exaggerated expressions. Messerschmidt's process was even more unusual than Ducreux's. He would physically pinch himself hard in the ribs and carefully study the resulting expressions of pain in a mirror. He planned to create 64 canonical grimaces, representing the full range of human expression. Behind both artists' work lay a complicated relationship with Enlightenment science. While rationalism dominated intellectual thought, interest in the supernatural persisted. Messerschmidt believed that spirits visited him at night, suggesting there was more to his artistic vision than pure scientific curiosity. This fascination with capturing extreme expressions stretches from Leonardo's grotesque heads through Dutch tronie paintings to Bernini's dynamic sculptures caught mid-action. But Ducreux and Messerschmidt took this interest to unprecedented extremes. While these works may seem like amusing oddities, they were revolutionary in how they challenged the very purpose of portraiture, not to flatter or idealize, but to capture authentic human emotion in all its raw, sometimes uncomfortable reality. The French Revolution swept away the monarchy and aristocracy Ducreux had served, As the Queen's official painter and a baron, his life was in danger. He escaped to London, where he created the last portrait ever made of Louis XVI before the king's execution. Even in this politically charged work, Ducreux's exceptional skill shone through. Against the odds, Ducreux returned to Paris in 1793. His friend, the revolutionary painter Jacques-Louis David, now an influential artist in the New Republic, helped him navigate this dangerous transition. Back in Paris, Ducreux turned his home into a literary salon where writers, poets, and musicians gathered. Most visitors commissioned portraits, giving him income despite the political chaos around him. Art ran in the family. His daughter Rosa David became a talented painter and musician, with works regularly shown at the Louvre. Like her father, she rarely signed her paintings, leading to frequent misattribution. Joseph Ducreux died in Paris on July 24, 1802. In a tragic twist, his daughter Rosa David died just 2 days later from yellow fever in Santo Domingo, a heartbreaking coincidence for a family that had survived when so many of their aristocratic connections perished. For nearly 2 centuries, Ducreux's experimental self-portraits remained largely forgotten outside academic circles. His formal portraits of royalty received attention, but his most innovative works, those unsigned facial studies, were often overlooked. Then in 2009, something unexpected happened. An internet user discovered Ducreux's self-portrait of the artist in the guise of a mocker, the one where he's pointing at the viewer with that unforgettable mocking expression. This person created the first Ducreux meme, with text reading, "Disregard females, acquire currency," an archaic translation of the rather more direct lyrics from Notorious B.I.G., S get money. The meme format took off. What made it work so well was the delicious contrast, formal 18th century portraiture paired with modern slang, translated in a deliberately outdated flowery language. By 2011, the meme had evolved further. Someone photoshopped actor Steve Buscemi's face into Ducreux's portrait, creating a new variation with archaic translations of famous lines from The Big Lebowski. Many years later, Ducreux's approach would become standard practice for content creators. The exaggerated facial expressions that drive successful YouTube thumbnails, reactioning GIFs, and TikTok videos follow the same principle Ducreux was exploring. Extreme expressions capture attention. Painted around 1793, Self-Portrait of the Artist in the Guise of a Mocker. Portrait shows Ducreux in a relaxed pose, pointing directly at the viewer with an expression that seems to say, "I see you." The painting breaks fundamental rules of 18th century portraiture. The casual pose, direct engagement with the viewer, and theatrical expression were completely at odds with the formal, dignified portraits expected of a court painter. Technically, the work demonstrates Ducreux's mastery. The glowing skin tones, delicate handling of light on the face, and careful rendering of the fashionable clothing all show the skills he developed painting royalty. But here, those refined techniques serve a revolutionary purpose, capturing a fleeting dynamic expression rather than a timeless idealized pose. What makes this painting so timeless and so memeable is how it communicates across centuries. The expression and pointing gesture create an immediate, almost confrontational connection with viewers that feels startlingly modern. Joseph Ducreux challenged the conventions of his time to create something genuinely original, a court painter who turned the refined techniques of royal portraiture toward capturing authentic human emotion in all its expressive glory. The contrast in his work, between his status as the Queen's official painter and his boundary-pushing experimental portraits, makes him fascinating to study. Even in the most formal periods of art history, innovators were pushing boundaries and exploring new ways to capture human experience. Thanks to internet culture, Ducreux has found global recognition that would have amazed him. Millions who've never visited an art museum instantly recognize his distinctive pointing gesture and expression. What makes Ducreux connect across centuries is the authenticity in these self-portraits. We don't see the polished facade of aristocratic formality, but a glimpse of the real person, someone with humor, expressiveness, and courage to break the rules. Joseph Ducreux, court painter, artistic rebel, and pioneer of facial expressions, still captivates audiences and influences visual culture centuries after his death. Thank you for watching this episode of Galeria. If you enjoyed this look at Joseph Ducreux's revolutionary self-portraits, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations of art history's most fascinating stories.